So, Justin, I just wanted to ask about Luka Doncic. He's kind of gone up another level in stardom, I would say, or in prestige as a player in getting to the conference finals. A lot of great NBA players. I mean, look at like Tracy McGrady. A lot of great NBA players have never made it this far into the playoffs. Where is Luka right now? And do you see, like let's say he does make it to the finals this year or next year, where does he rank among stars? I think you and I no doubt agree he's on that top tier of talent in the league. He's only 22, which is insane. Obviously, with success comes some level of notoriety. But how do you see his, I guess, star potential rising from this postseason and beyond?
Yeah, so I've been on the Luka bandwagon. I think it's fairly obvious his superstar potential. I think what's going to hold him back is, him being, and we talked about this, and I know there was a controversy with, I think I have trouble pronouncing his name, but Otani in Major League Baseball, with the whole
Oh yeah.
Stephen A.
Hmm.
controversy. Um, I think if you take a look at foreign stars, and particularly stars that are not from, like, I would say Britain or Ireland, they struggle here in the United States. I mean, that's
Mm.
just a fact. And to me, people can point to like
In terms of
Messi.
that mass appeal,
Yeah, yeah. In
right?
terms of just that mass appeal, like people know Cristiano Ronaldo and I know Lionel Messi, but like, are you gonna watch a La Liga game, El Clasico? Probably not. You're not gonna watch Barcelona and Real Madrid when in their prime. Like,
Mm.
you probably know the names, but like, unless you're a soccer fan, you're not going to watch. And I think with Luca right now, I mean, let's talk about intangibles. I mean, can we name which sneaker company he's with? Can we name which shoe he's got?
I
Can we
can't.
name a commercial he's got? I mean, it was very interesting talking to Marion Fader about Giannis because I think Giannis is funny because she talked about how he's shy and stuff. I think he's very personable. He's out there all the time, and you see his personality all the time. I mean, there is an Instagram of him, like I don't know. I think he was doing something with Oreos. Like he just seems
Oh
weird, and like
yeah.
he's just like
Hmm.
does
Kind of
stuff.
quirky.
Yeah, like I believe he's out there all the time, and I don't see Luca doing that.
Hmm.
So I think that's kind of the thing. If we're comparing Luca to Giannis, we saw really. I think in the beginning it was kind of like, okay, what's this guy all about? And I think we seen his personality evolve. And I think with Luca, we can see that he's kind of a quirky guy too. Like Luca has,
Hmm.
he gets into it with other players and he just kind of does different stuff. And he's battle tested. I think just him playing at such a hardcore level overseas, he has a I don't know, very unique advantage playing professionally compared to his peers. And
Hmm.
so I think in terms of his superstar potential, I think it's going to be tough to crack. I think a lot of that goes to marketing and business, just in terms
Hmm.
of what he wants to do. I think that's up to him. And if that's the beauty of team sports is for Luca. I mean, he could still make tons of money, win championships, and just not be quiet. Just be like Tim Duncan. I mean, this
Right.
is not combat sports where your personality is linked to how much money you make. For Luca, he has this the distinction and the luxury of just being, hey, do you want to have that fame too, or do you just want to be a great basketball player? That's the ball's in his court. He can do whatever he wants. But in terms of that superstar potential, and to answer your question, Matt, I think it will go up if he advances to the NBA Finals.
Sure.
I think moving forward, I still think like Trey Young. I still think, even Zach Levine, just playing in a high octane market's going to help those players over Luca. I think Luca's probably have to do twice as much to get that notoriety, just because of where he comes from and then the market he plays in Dallas. Despite it's not a small market team, but certainly smaller than there's other cities that get that spotlight compared to like a Jason Tatum.
Right.
So I think for Luka's superstar potential, I think it's going to depend on kind of those intangibles. Look at Joel Embiid. I mean, how
Hmm.
many he's on the Mountain Dew commercial. We've seen him do all these other things. I mean, hell, Boban's been in a movie. I mean, I think he's in John Wick. So
That's
he's been
right.
in all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
So I think for Luka, I think that's kind of going to be the things that's going to propel him or keep him, you know, at a certain level in terms of superstar potential. Basketball fans know what's up. I mean, he's going to be a elite player in this league, pretty obviously. But in terms of the casual fans, which is honestly what it's all about in terms of ratings, in
Sure.
terms of with LeBron, leaving, we talked about Chris Paul, kind of like that the garb that we grew up in, in terms of that 2003 draft around and to really when Kevin Durant got drafted. We're in a new phase of the league now. And I think, especially with, what's his name? Zion Williamson being a question mark. I mean, you saw his marketing and whether or not you think he's overrated, he was linked to Nike, linked
Hmm.
to Mountain Dew. He got the cover of NBA 2K. Granted, Luka got the cover as well, but you saw all those things in succession to propel him as kind of that next face of the league. Luka didn't get those things, so
Right.
I think it's kind of going to be interesting to see if those brands get behind him, which I think is a possibility. I mean, he has a great personality to exploit. Whereas I think with Tim Duncan, he kind of kept that under wraps, so only certain people could see that. So I don't think
Right.
that's going to be the same thing with Luca. I think it's going to take longer, but I do think eventually that's going to translate, kind of like a, I don't know, I don't know, a bigger version of Dirk Nowitzki.
Mm.
If you remember,
Hmm.
like in the beginning, he was quiet, we didn't know his personality, and then later on, saw he's a
Right.
very funny guy. I think we're going to see that way earlier with Luca. So
For sure. Yeah, yeah, you bring up a lot of great points there. I do think with this being a league that's in America, there's just kind of an inherent advantage if you are from America that
yeah, sure.
you go into the league with a little bit of an advantage. I do think that's shifting a bit. And Dirk, you just mentioned, was one of the main guys that paved the way to that.
Agreed.
A lot of great players, like Tony Kukoc, we've talked about a lot on this
Yeah,
show.
Tony Parker,
Uh,
Ginobili. Yeah,
Great players, yeah, that have also helped pave the way. And Luca really may be one of the first ones that's like legitimately like the top guy or at least a top three guy in the league of those talents. I think Nowitzki, even when he was having like his MVP season, there's always debate like basically, yeah, you're great. You're having this great year. You're having these great numbers, but you're not LeBron James or you're
no,
not Kobe Bryant.
it's true.
Whereas with Luca, I think when he gets his MVP, it'll be maybe like between him and Giannis for the best player of the league or Jokic, and all those guys are foreign players right there.
It's true.
But I think the other point you bring up that I like, mentioning Giannis, who's very funny, personable, likable, great team player, speaks highly of his team. A lot of things that I find refreshing. Um, has not been promoted well in the league. And look at Jokic too. He's like a big goofball. He's very
Yeah, it's true.
relatable, I think, in interviews. He's very funny, but also, yes, smaller market, but has not I think for a two-time MVP, for the back-to-back MVP, I think there are a lot of households that know the sport of basketball decently well and maybe potentially have never heard of Nikola Jokic in
Oh,
spite of him being
yeah.
back-to-back MVP and amazing.
I'm going to say something maybe controversial. Just
Do
popped
it.
in my mind because you brought up the Joker and you brought up Luca, and if you take a look at the different guys that have shoes, right? Like
Mm,
from Steph Curry to Kawhi, to Kevin Durant, LeBron, Damian Lillard. Why? I mean, to me, I think it's. I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, you take a look at if you take a look at Luca, you take a look at the Joker. I why don't they have a shoe deal? I mean, Luka's a borderline MVP candidate, if not an MVP candidate already, and that might be disrespectful for me to even say that. And then with the Joker, you've seen two-time MVP. I haven't seen him get a shoe, like, or even attempts to really market him. I think that's
mm,
a part of it. It's kind of those big shoe companies
mm,
getting behind them, and I just wonder, is it because they're foreign players or something else that might be at play there? But I think that is what's going to gain traction with the sneaker culture and on social media is kind of those intangibles.
mm,
And I don't know. I think just looking at how the league is marketed, it's, let's face it, it's just non-foreign players,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
I think that is a factor in all this as well. So and it could be because even I think even with Giannis to a certain extent, yeah, I agree with you. Like even Merritt said it, and I agree with both of you. And so he hasn't been marketed as great as well. I think there's been a big, massive opportunity that's been missed there. But you talk to a lot of just like sneakerheads and just like what's getting traction online. Those three are not mentioned, and arguably they've been the most dominant players in terms of MVPs, in terms of their stats. And it's just if the roles were reversed, if it was Trey Young, Damian Lillard, and I don't know, Kawhi, you just switch the roles there. I mean, I think it'd be
Mhm.
quite different in terms of the opportunities they've been getting, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I also wonder too if some of that just has to flat out do with speed and agility. Like Luka,
maybe,
as amazing as he is, he's not he he's quick in certain ways,
sure,
like first step off the dribble type of ways, but he's not like that guy that's going to he's not like young Jordan where
no,
the dude's like jumping over people
sure,
and dunking on them. That type of flashy, whereas a lot of those guys that you mentioned that get those sneaker deals are even Steph
yeah,
Curry, like watching his handles
oh,
is
true,
something you could argue is um, kind of more that traditional NBA sort of flashy. Jokic will have some flash and some flair with his passes from time to time. Same with Luka, but it's not the same type of. I wonder if the shoe companies are thinking like, well, we're not really trying to get you to play like we want you to think this sneaker is going to propel you to be
mm,
faster, a little bit better at the game.
true,
Also, a lot of it, of course, being just the look and the stylish
yeah,
shoe. But
sure.
yeah, I don't know. It's a fascinating conversation. A great point that you bring up. I think we could talk about it all night.